Right now, home and business owners all over southeast Wisconsin are cleaning up after this weekend's historic flooding. That includes restaurants in Tosa Village like Cafe Hollander, where the staff says they suffered significant damage during the storm. Joining us now to talk about the business impact of this historic weather event, BizTimes editor Andrew Weiland. Always good to see you. Let's start by breaking down a new report from the Wisconsin Policy Forum, where flood damage claims peaked during the massive floods of 2008, causing nearly $50 million in damage to federally insured property statewide. And the Policy Forum says this week's flooding may eventually surpass that total.
Yeah, that says a lot. And what the Policy Forum report is pointing out is that recent decades have seen a significant increase in flood damage in the state. And the report is kind of a call. The Policy Forum's reports are really designed to provide information for the government, for policymakers, to address issues. And in this case, they're saying, look, flood damage is on the rise in the state in recent decades. Climate change appears to be an issue. I know climate change is very controversial. People argue about, is it real or what's causing it? Well, they're saying the evidence is clear that there's more flood damage and more of that is projected, and they're calling on public officials to take steps to address it. If we're seeing more of these, what are supposed to be rare flooding events happening more often, the infrastructure needs to be improved, and when you're planning for developments, you got to make more plans for how to manage the stormwater.
And we've seen some of the video showing it right now from some of the businesses. Of course, we've seen several homeowners, but what's been the impact on businesses here in the Milwaukee area after this weekend? Yeah,
widespread, numerous examples. You mentioned Cafe Hollander. I think they're going to be closed for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Tosa Village got hit hard. The Menominee Valley we saw was hit pretty hard. I know there was standing water over at Cargill. The casino had issues with their parking structure, cars flooded. I know issues in Menominee Falls, my hometown of Milwaukee, had big flood. It's all over the place, businesses being hit. And businesses face a similar issue that homeowners face, which your standard homeowners insurance doesn't cover flood damage. Same thing for business owners, their standard insurance, unless you have flood insurance specifically, your insurance doesn't cover it, so it's a huge problem.
So is there any specific assistance that could help these business owners recover?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I think when you see the application for FEMA support, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and what kind of programs come forward. This is a disaster event as declared by the state, so hopefully there'll be some relief provided.
I know you mentioned so many areas. I want to talk about Milwaukee specifically with Wisconsin Policy Forum report that found Milwaukee logged the highest total of claims since 1978, followed by much smaller cities like Fort Atkinson and Fond du Lac. What do you make of that report?
Well, I think the fact that Milwaukee is the biggest city, naturally it's going to have the most damage, and so one interesting thing we've seen is, MMSD had such an issue for a long time with overflows of their system and having to dump the overflow into the lake. They invested a lot of money to make improvements, and now those events are occurring a lot less often.
Right.
And so the city of Milwaukee is going to have to make some kind of infrastructure upgrades, and MMSD may be part of that in light of an event that occurred this weekend. And going forward, you've got to make improvements or we're going to see more of these.
I know this storm hit Saturday night into Sunday. Have you been able to speak to any business owners in the last few days about what they're dealing with and their plans moving forward?
I haven't specifically, but there's anecdotal reports all over the case of businesses, dealing with it however they can. As a business, you kind of you suck it up and you move on. You clean up, you clear out, you do the best you can. Hopefully it doesn't put you out of business, but for most of them, it's something they're going to have to invest in those repairs and keep going forward and hope that you can make enough money to recover that loss.
It is a process. All right, Andrew Weiland, always good to talk with you. We'll see you here next week again.